Well, last week, I reflected with you on the holiness code that's found in the book of Leviticus. And there in Leviticus 19, verse 2, you'll recall the scripture says that the Lord is speaking. It says, "Speak to all the congregation of the sons of Israel, and say to them, you shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy." So we're commanded to be holy, and the verse that really stood out to me as I was reading through that was this verse, Leviticus 19:32, that says, "You shall rise up before the gray-headed and honor the aged, and you shall revere your God. I am the Lord." Well, that was last week's reading. This week, I'm actually reading through the book of Numbers. And again, God's command to holiness becomes a pretty key point in Numbers, particularly in Numbers 20. Now, in Numbers 20, the children of Israel have come to the area of Meribah. And there at Meribah, the people are grumbling. They're grumbling because they don't have water. They're grumbling because they're upset with Moses. They're grumbling because things just aren't the way they want it to be. And as Moses listens to them, he does what many leaders do when God's people grumble. He gets frustrated. Particularly, he gets frustrated with their hard-heartedness. Well, the Lord had told Moses to speak to the rock. But rather than speaking to the rock, Moses struck the rock. He struck the rock twice. And when he struck the rock, the water flowed. Now, the interesting thing is that the pragmatists among us would say something like this. He wanted water, he got water, everything must be okay. Sure, God said, speak to the rock. Moses struck the rock. Moses got water, all is well. But the fact of the matter is, all was not well because the Lord wasn't happy. The Lord wasn't happy because Moses didn't do what God told him to do. And so in Numbers 20, verse 12, the scripture says, "But the Lord said to Moses and to Aaron, because you have not believed me to treat me as holy in the sight of the sons of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land which I have given to them." And so what we see here is that Moses, who was the leader of the people, didn't believe God. Moses didn't believe God, and specifically Moses, who was the leader of the people, didn't treat God as holy. He didn't treat God as holy specifically in the sight of the people. You see, holiness matters to God. How we treat the Lord matters to God. How we present the Lord to the people around us matters to God. So in this light, a probing question might be something like this. Would the people that know me best, or the people that know you best, recognize that God is holy because of the way that I talk, the words I say, or the way I say them? Would the people that know me best recognize that God is holy because of the way that I act? Or just to make this a little bit more personal, in a situation that's going on in my life right now, recently I've been dealing with a particular store because back in June, my wife and I made a purchase, and we were told then that because of the COVID situation, it would take, instead of the normal, 3 to 6 weeks, it's going to take somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks to get our purchase. And when that time frame was ending, then we're told, well, actually it's going to be another month. And then more recently I'm told, no, actually it's going to be another month. And so this time just keeps getting pushed back further and further and further. And so my challenge is, I want to be firm with this store to express my displeasure, right? They made a promise. I made a purchase based on their promise, and they have not kept their promise. I still don't have what I purchased. And so I want to hold the store accountable. I want to be firm, and yet I want to present God as holy, and I want to treat God as holy in their presence. So the fact of the matter is, my inconvenience or my own frustration with them is no excuse to profane God's name, either with my actions or with my attitude, whether the specific words I use or the way that I use them. So again, the challenge is, are we presenting God as holy to those who are around us? Holiness matters to God.